What's the word, y'all? Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. I need you to ignore these two things. My hair, I'm getting it retwisted today, so this is my twist out. And ignore the fact that I'm sitting in my house with a collar shirt buttoned up to the absolute top. Today was Halloween, and we did this little fun old family Halloween costume. I was a Chick-fil-A employee. I ain't got my name tag. My wife was a Chick-fil-A employee, and my daughter was a cow. It makes more sense when the other people are around, but now I just look like a dude that just got out of school. So ignore those two things. We talking about hoops. For the most part, today was a somewhat uneventful day in basketball, so we're going to do a quick recap of the games, but I also want to spend majority of today's video talking about the players that have impressed me the most. These are just the people that are at the top of mind. There are a lot of different players that are exceeding expectations, so you leave some in the comment section too. But before we do that, let me tell you about our sponsor, PrizePicks. Hit the link in the description and download the PrizePicks app and use code Kenny because they're matching all deposits up to $100. I love PrizePicks because it's just you versus the numbers. You put together a lineup of anywhere between 2 to 5 different players. You pick something like points, rebounds, assists. You look at the number and you tell them if you think the person is going to have more or less than the number projected. It's just that simple. Of course, we're a basketball channel, but it's a lot deeper than that. They got football. They got baseball. We're in the World Series, aren't we? They have a lot of different sports over there, like tennis, MMA, and soccer. I don't know if I put together a lineup of those, but I mean, I just gotta play the just play the numbers and you could win. And that's exactly what I have been doing. Here's my lineup from yesterday. It was the perfect lineup, ladies and gentlemen. I got all in the green. Join in with the thousands of other people that have used my link and join in on PrizePicks. Hit the link in the description. Use code Kenny because they're matching all deposits up to $100 for new players. I want to say shout out to PrizePicks again for sponsoring another video. Okay, let's go over games. I'm going to tell you right off rip, the Rockets and the Clippers are still going on. I'm sorry. A game starting at 10 o'clock my time cannot get a lot of time for me because, bro, I got a whole kid. I got to wake up in the morning. Man, I'm going to have to watch that game tomorrow morning, okay? So let's get over the games that we did watch, like Kings versus Hornets. This game did not start off pretty good for this Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox goes out with an injury. Domantas Sabonis is in foul trouble for the entire game, but they still pull it out because Kevin Huerter, Red Velvet, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about him later as one of my impressive players, came to play, and Davion Mitchell, in the absence of De'Aaron Fox, stepped up dramatically as he hit 5 threes. I didn't even realize it was that many. He hit 5 threes, including the big dagger. But the quarter that really put them into this game and into the lead was the third, where Kevin Huerter went out there and scored 12 points, hitting 2 of 3 for 3. Again, we're going to talk about Kevin Huerter in a little bit, but this is a really important win for the Kings because now technically they're on a win streak, ladies and gentlemen. And I like that they were able to close this out with Domantas Sabonis fouling out. Trey Lyles came into that fourth quarter, hit a big basket, and they ended up winning this game. Shout out to him. The 76ers are a 500 team, and they won 2 of their last 3 games without Joel Embiid. Very curious if you ask me. I didn't watch this game, no, I'm be honest with you. It's probably a little bit telling that the 2 best games of Tyrese Maxey's season so far has come with Joel Embiid out. He had the 40-piece against the Raptors, I'm pretty sure, and then he had the 28-piece today. Again, I didn't watch this, so I'm kind of just joking around about the Joel Embiid stuff, but being able to win games like this without your superstar player is really important, and just like that, they're back to a 500 team. The Pacers almost ruined it for Steve Nash. I legitimately thought that if Steve Nash and the Brooklyn Nets lost tonight's game, he was going to be fired, but they closed it out. And shout out to Nicholas Claxton. Nicholas Claxton just saved Steve Nash's job because KD and Kyrie have been doing exactly this all season. This is not a surprise, but Nicholas Claxton to come in and give them 19 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks was huge, especially in the fourth quarter. I think he had a couple different buckets down the stretch, and just like that, that man Steve Nash lives to see another day. But I was really, really impressed with Chris Duarte because through the first couple games of the Indiana Pacers season, he ain't looked like the version that we saw last year when he was, in the running of Rookie of the Year for the first month or so. And in this one, he put up a career-high 30 points. And Buddy Hield continues to show, hey, Lakers, trade for me. Which is basically what Miles Turner said on Woj's podcast. He told the Lakers, hey, if I were you, I would throw those 2 first-round picks because I know what Miles Turner can bring. And then the 76ers got fined for tampering 2 second-round picks. How does Miles Bridges, Miles Turner not get fined? He might still, but just actively saying, hey, Lakers, I'm here. It's got to be against the rules one way or another. And he didn't have a great game. But hey, the Pacers are not supposed to be in these games in the first place, and they were. They were down by 20 points and brought it all the way back to single digits, brought it all the way back to tie, but ended up losing down the stretch. Trae Young had one of the worst performances of his career, I guess, or at least of the season. I know early in Trae Young's career, he had a couple somewhat not so great games, but in this one he had 14 points, 10 assists, and 10 turnovers. I was thinking about making this entire video about the Toronto Raptors and their defense because boy, oh boy, do they force more turnovers than a lot of different teams in basketball. And Trae Young just looks small amongst all of these people because there was no Fred VanVleet today. So like the shortest man on the court a majority of the time was Gary Trent, who's like 6'5", 6'6". So Trae Young had his hands full being guarded by OG Anunoby for a good portion of this game, being guarded by Scotty Barnes for a good portion of this game, and they end up losing this. But I really wanted to showcase the Toronto Raptors defense because they get out. The half-court offense still isn't good for the Toronto Raptors, but if they're causing 13 steals and a total of 18 turnovers for the Atlanta Hawks, you don't really need half-court offense in a lot of cases because we outrun it. Pascal gave them 31 and 12 with 6 assists. Scotty Barnes hit 3 back-to-back threes in the first quarter, and OG Anunoby had 6 total steals. A couple more assists, and he would have had a 5x5. Dang, bro. Those are the type of stats that I would cherry pick for. Forget a triple-double. Forget going for 20 points. I needed 2 more assists for a 5x5. I'm throwing a line. I'm doing something. But I was going to showcase the Raptors defense in this one, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was picking on Trae Young because he has been really, really good this season, and I didn't want to just showcase the one really bad game of the year. And for the Atlanta Hawks, I don't really look at these last 2 losses too much. I still think there's going to be a gelling period when you have 2 of the more ball-dominant players, at least last year, trying to figure out how to play together. They lost to 2 really good teams, in my opinion, so it is what it is. Just give it more time to gel. The Pistons continue to stay in these games. Yesterday, they beat the Golden State Warriors, which is a dub. And today, they snuck around. They stayed around with the Milwaukee Bucks for the entirety of the game. And I mentioned yesterday how good Cade Cunningham has been. And I'm looking at my tabs. Cade Cunningham is one of the people we're going to talk about as far as the people that have impressed me the most. So we'll save that for a couple minutes from now. But overall, the Detroit Pistons are staying into these games and losing, which is probably what you want if you're the Detroit Pistons, considering what this draft class really has. Giannis continues his dominance with 31 points. And Drew Holiday in the last couple games have been amazing. Brook Lopez, another player we will be talking about. All right, let's get to the games or the people that we impressed with the most. Also, the Jazz continue to win games. No Desmond Bane tonight, so you know the Grizzlies have somewhat of an excuse, but the defense was just god-awful. It's rounding up right now, and the Jazz just figure it out. I have no idea how. All right, so some of these are going to be like, duh, Kenny, but it's like some people I want to talk about. This is my channel. This is what we do. The first man is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, like I said in the video maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, I haven't done a complete due diligence and sitting down and watching the entirety of an OKC game. What I've been doing for Shai is pretty much watching Shai's possessions, or before Giddey was out, watching Giddey's possessions, because those are the 2 players within the organization that I'm invested in. I'm starting to get the Jalen Williams buzz. I understand it, you know, even though since he put the mask on, he ain't been great. That was his first game back, but the Shai stuff is crazy because this is basically what we've seen for the entirety of his time in OKC. When Shai is in the lineup, the Thunder have a chance to win any game against any team. So far in the season, he's averaging 31 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and the thing that I'm excited about the most, and again, it is only 5 games, he's attempting about 4 threes a game, and he's shooting 37%. Last year, he was a god-awful 3-point shooter, and when I was streaming on Twitch a little while ago, we were going through his shot mechanics like the year before versus last year, and he changed it up. He always had this little hitch in his jump shot, but it seemed like it got even worse last season. It looks better. It looks more fluid, even though he always had a hitch. But when it comes to getting to the basket, I continuously say this. There are maybe 2 people, 3 people in basketball that are better than Shai. And Shai is not, I mean, he is a 6'6" guard. So that, yeah, I won't say he's not naturally gifted, but it's not like he's Giannis. He's not basically a 6'11" dog. He is a 6'6" guard that uses silky moves. It's not like he's using pure force. There are not people that can stand in front of him. And if he's also hitting his jump shot, how do you guard that man? The answer is you don't. The next guy's Keldon Johnson. He's averaging 24, 5, and 4 on the season. He just continuously looks good, man. He dropped, I think they said 20 pounds every time I've watched a Spurs game. From the opposing broadcast, they mentioned, oh, Keldon Johnson dropped 20 pounds. He dropped 20 pounds. And you could tell, like, if you've watched him last season and watched him this season, he's dropped that weight. And for some reason, teams are still playing off of him as if he can't shoot. He was a good shooter in college. He came to the NBA and wasn't great. I mean, and the sample size wasn't huge. And in the minutes that he's given over the last 2 seasons, he showed that, hey, I'm not just a good shooter, I'm a great shooter. He's attempting 9 threes a game so far this season. He's shooting 43%. Again, I don't expect that to be the case for the entirety of the season, but like his shooting, his shot making has been incredible. Next one is Cade Cunningham. He's averaging 21, 6, and 7. And I don't think that takes into account today's game, so the numbers might be even even higher. I just, like, if you were watching the Detroit Pistons without knowing anything about basketball, or, okay, maybe the rules of basketball, but not knowing anything about players, you can see and watch the Cade minutes and then watch the minutes that he's not on the floor. And the difference is a team that is competent enough to stay in any game versus a team that looks like they're going to lose by 30 every single night. And maybe that's just a testament to like Corey Joe or Killian Hayes not being very, very good. But Cade Cunningham is just a guy that keeps you in basketball games. He's a guy that makes the right plays. And now that they're starting to put more offensive weapons around him, you're starting to see his numbers go high. He's averaging 7 assists a game because Bojan Bogdanović don't miss. So I really love Cade's game. And you can obviously tell why he was the first overall pick just last season. And if he continues on this way, I mean, he's got to be in all-star conversations easily. Lauri Markkanen, this game just wrapped up, so these numbers don't account for this win. He's averaging 21, 9, and 3. And it's cool to just see Lauri Markkanen get as many touches as he absolutely wants. And he's averaging 21 points without his three-point shot going down. If you would have told me, let's say 4 years ago, like 4 years ago, that Lauri Markkanen was going to average 21 points per game, but he's only going to shoot 27% from three, I would call you crazy, and I would say you were lying to me. Because when we watched him in Chicago, basically, he was a guy that just spotted up and shot threes, except for that 1 month. Y'all remember that 1 month in like year number 2 where he averaged like 27, 8 points per game, and Bulls fans was like, we got him, the next Dirk. And then he just, not regressed, but he just went back into the shell of, I'm just going to spot up and shoot. I legitimately think Jim Boylan is to blame, but that's not here or there. But now he's getting to the basket. He's getting his own rebounds. He's doing a little bit of everything. And as a guy that watched him since the beginning of his season, I just love the fact that he's playing his best basketball, and he's doing it on a very good, a good team at this point. All right, so this one is where we start talking about people that ain't putting up no crazy numbers. Josh Green is averaging 5, 3, and 1. And you know what? I might have a tweet about Josh Green like 2 seasons ago, or maybe it was last season. Let me see if I can find it. January of this year, I said Josh Green gonna mess around and make the Kenny Friel All-Star team. And he looks better now than he did last year. The numbers are 5 points, 3 rebounds, about 1 assist. That obviously doesn't jump off the page at all. He's only averaging 15 minutes per game. So Kenny, why is he even on this list? Well, he is hitting his shots. It's basically that simple. For the first couple years of his career, everybody's seen him as a guy that can really, like, when it comes to one-on-one defense, he can clamp up. And he's not bad in the gaps off the ball. But the problem was his first year of his NBA career, he shot 16% from 3. The second year, he shot 36, which is better. But this year, again, on small sample size, 6 games, 15 minutes per game, he's shooting 55%. And when I was in Brooklyn, I'm going to keep referencing this game because it was the best game I've ever been to. When I was in Brooklyn to watch this team versus the Nets, there was 2 plays in that one where he caught the ball in the corner right in front of me, 3 feet in front of me. And just the release on that, you could just feel that it was going in every single time. So he does all the right things, and even he's only 21 years old, so I think he's going to continue to get better and better throughout his career until he's like a real rotational piece. The next one is Jacques Landale. Yes, Suns fans, here we go. Jacques Landale has been able to basically roll with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it does help when you got Devin Booker as a pick-and-roll partner or Chris Paul as a pick-and-roll partner, but hey, he still got to finish. He still got to use them good hands. He still got to play in space. And he's averaging 10 points per game and 5 rebounds and doing a ton of the dirty work, especially now that DeAndre Ayton is going to be out for the next couple games. You're kind of seeing center by committee with Bismack Biyombo up in there. But Jacques Landale has been a standout on their bench for the entirety of the season. So I'm excited about that because last season, I'll be honest with you, I ain't know much about him. I think I was pronouncing bro's name wrong, and I might still be doing it. But still, right now, Jacques Landale has been really, really good for the Suns. One that I'm not going to spend too much time on because I've been telling y'all this for like 2 seasons now. Isaiah Hartenstein is really, really good. I mean, down the stretch, he's playing minutes over Mitchell Robinson because he does a little bit of everything. He's averaging 9, 8, and about an assist per game. Very rarely does he make mistakes. And those are the type of players I really like. Let's get my homer pick out of the way. Javonte Green is averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal, but he's leading the league in deflections. I mean, bro is only averaging 17 minutes per game, which seems terribly low because of how impactful he is when you're actually watching the Chicago Bulls. He's a human highlight reel. He gets deflections, and he's actually hitting. He's not hitting his shots. I just looked at the percentage. I swear to God, it feels like he's hitting more shots than 20% from 3. Either way, Javonte, what about Brook Lopez being back? Last season was a struggle of a year for Brook Lopez because he dealt with all the back injuries. Last year, he averaged 12 points. The efficiency wasn't there. And this year, he's averaging 15 points. And he looks dramatically better. Like today, when they just went against the Detroit Pistons, they don't win this game without him putting up, was it 23 and 10 or something like that? So his numbers of 15, 6, and 1 are not the right numbers because it don't account for the game that he just had. I mean, Brook has been amazing. He's averaging 3 blocks. At one point, it was like 6 blocks per game. The Bucks are so crazy because they have probably, in my opinion, the best perimeter defender in basketball. They have the best help defender in basketball, and they have one of the best just pure paint protection in basketball, and that is why they are still undefeated. Shout out to Brook Lopez. Next one, sticking with the Spurs on this one, Jakob Poeltl. I've been singing praises about Jakob for like 2 seasons now, and it seems like he's getting better and better with time. He's only 27 years old on the last year of his deal. I don't know what the Spurs' plan is because they're so good that they might be able to make a playing spot, but do they really want to make a playing spot? I don't really know. I think that if the Spurs, listen, I'm telling Adam Silver to rig it because Adam Silver's telling the world, hey, if you start tanking, we go delegate you down to the G League, whatever the hell he was talking about. And the Spurs traded their all-star point guard and DeJounte Murray, and everybody, including me, projected them to be terrible, and they haven't been. So I would say if they make the play-in and lose, give them with Victor Wembanyama. Just do it. They deserve it. They've been doing it the right way for 20 plus years. Give it to them. But no, if they do decide to sell 27-year-old Jakob Poeltl, I mean, that's going to warrant a first-round pick. That is how good he has been this season, and last, if you're looking at that. Next player is Dean Wade. 10 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and an assist on the season. What are you shooting from 3? Because I know it's a crazy percentage. 62% from 3. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, I think it was, he basically didn't play the first game of the season, or the first game against the Bulls home opener. And since then, I mean, they're still dealing with injuries and stuff, and Dean Wade is brought into that starting lineup. I mean, this is a dude that if you didn't know anything about him, you would see him on the court and be like, I don't know if he's going to be nice. He is 6'9". He's built more like a 4 and a 5, but he does hold his own on the perimeter against like threes and stuff. And he also elite 3-point shooter, at least this season, on 4 attempts per game. So he's been really good. Grant Williams is averaging 9.6 and 4. I mean, I said that last season he was super important for what the Boston Celtics were doing. And then we got to the finals and he was borderline unplayable just because he doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with the Wigginses of the world or the Steph Currys of the world. But so far this season, he's been pretty damn good. He is the modern version of PJ Tucker with a little bit more to his game because he sits in those corners, he hits his shots, and he is also Batman. I'm happy for Bobo because he was one of the most hyped up players, when he was going out of college. Went to Oregon, whatever. He was in the green room. He got invited to the NBA draft, and did he get drafted to the 44th overall pick? Look at that man's draft pictures and tell me he don't look like the saddest person in the world. Where this season, he's got opportunity more than he's ever had before. He's got more minutes played so far this season than any of his other seasons completely. And he's averaging 11.6 rebounds. And he looks like a real player for the Orlando Magic. And I want to remind people, he is just 22 years old at this point of his life. So I'm just saying, sometimes you got to take a shot. And the Orlando Magic has done a good job taking shots. And not all of them have hit. But I mean, right now, Bobo looks like a real player, and they're playing huge lineups over there. Now, the Kings paid a lot to get Kevin Huerter on the team, and so far he's making them feel damn good about the picks that they gave up. Because if I'm not mistaken, because they gave up the pick that they gave up, they basically can't trade any more first-round picks. So if they this close to doing whatever the hell they want to do and they want to buy in and get another piece, they can't really throw another pick. He's averaging 18, 3, and 4. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, when we were talking about today's game, he has been electric from 3 on about 8 attempts per. He's shooting 53%. One of my favorite things is when someone goes down an injury and they look for the next man up and the next man up really comes out and play. That would be Najee Marshall. Najee Marshall saw opportunities of a lifetime because Brandon Ingram went down with a concussion. Get well soon, B.I. And then Herb Jones also got injured. And now they're looking on the wings like, who the hell do we play? They had the nationally televised game against I don't remember who. And I was calling Zeke Najee. Oh, man, Zeke Najee, that pick, I picked him to be a player that gets PT. He only get PT. Najee Marshall stepped into that role as a wing, and he been killing it. He's averaging 10 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's shooting about league average from 3, slightly above league average from 3, which is all you can really ask for. The defense is going to be good, And he does a lot of the small things, and those are the things I like. And then the last two people we're going to group together because they play for the same roster. It is Nick Richards and Jalen McDaniels. I think McDaniels is shooting like 51% from three on the season on like 25 attempts. Like, he has been as lights out as you can be on a lot of value so far this season. And then also Nick Richards, who we've talked about 10 times so far this season. So I won't go too deep into that. But those are a bunch of people that have been impressing me so far. Obviously, the list could go on and on and on, but I'm going to stick to 36 or however many I did in this video.